Hi and all of you awesome scuba divers out there, welcome to the Scuba Diver Magazine channel, your favourite place for the latest scuba diving news and gear reviews, and welcome to Ask Mark, our scuba diving Q&A, where I'm Mark, a former dive instructor, doing my best to answer your scuba diving questions. So if you do have any dive questions, pop them down in the comment section underneath this video, use this Ask Mark hashtag in your comment, and that way I just see it behind the scenes. I do my best to answer questions. I've been quite busy recently, so I apologise if I haven't gotten to all of your questions. The community does an awesome job at answering them for me, so thank you for everyone for doing that. You saved my life. But yeah, some questions I turn into videos, and some even make it into our magazine, which you can find by checking out our website, scubadivingmag.com. But anyway, today I'm answering a question from Denis, and he's asking about routing your low pressure inflator hose for your dry suit. So Denis says, "Hi Mark, I recently did my first dives in a dry suit. On shore, I had some discussions about the routing of the inflator hose for the dry suit. My more experienced buddies told me to put it over my harness, so just from the first stage under the arm to the dry suit. I saw many videos where people put it under the harness. Do you have reasons to do the one or the other? Regards from Germany, and Gut Luft," which I translated means good air. Gut Luft. So popped on a pretty basic harness. It's not completely set up, so bear with me for that. I know the D-rings aren't quite in the right place, but whatever. So low pressure inflator hose typically goes underneath your arm, and then you have a chest inflator, so it clicks into the inflator, and that's it. Now, if you just have it over, if I tighten this one up, because I've got a cinch strap. If you have it over the harness, then low pressure inflator hoses for dry suits tend to be on the longer side, certainly longer than your low pressure inflator for your BCD, because it has to come like around your body, and the manufacturer doesn't know whether it's coming from a single cylinder valve or twin cylinders. So whatever, you can pick and choose the length of your inflator hose, but longer is sometimes easier, especially with dry suits, because you're typically using gloves as well, so you don't really want to be fighting it. So you tend to have a bit more slack in that line, and that of course is just begging to get tangled up in something or mistaken for a different hose. If you're feeling for your submersible pressure gauge and you find the hose, then you can find the wrong hose, and oh no, I've got to find it. So sometimes it's easier just to tuck it underneath that that strap. I shouldn't have cinched it up. That way, when you're in the water, it's much more streamlined as far as this particular hose, so you're less likely to get any of that excess snagged in something. You're going to have to be brushing up very close against something to get that caught on something. But also, it's less likely to be mistaken for a different hose. You've got your submersible pressure gauge, but also, yeah, if you're diving with like stage cylinders and things, side mounted cylinders on your left hand side, there's just less to get like complicated and caught in when it's that much closer to your body. So yeah, most divers tend to put it, well, I don't like saying most divers for this kind of thing, because they can do whatever they want. I was certainly taught to put it under the harness, just so it is less of a snag hazard, something to get caught on something, and yeah, it's just generally neater, typically because it's a slightly longer than normal hose, so it's more likely to have a bit of extra slack. I have seen some divers that route it over the shoulder, like down parallel to your low pressure inflator. Don't really know how I feel about that. It makes sense to have it running down parallel. Trying to think of any. Again, the main downsides are mistaking which hose it is, if you're looking for the other low pressure inflator hose, but also if you have to disconnect it, then that hose is typically going to disappear. That's another useful benefit for putting it underneath the harness. If you do have to disconnect it underwater for whatever reason, the hose isn't going to go very far. It's going to stay pretty close to wherever you had it, so you can reconnect it. if you ever need to. But I think the main reason is just the snag hazard, something to less likely to get caught on something and just get in the way. If you can have it just tucked under a hose, it's not something that you typically disconnect a lot and then have to like have a lot of slack to do something. You don't use them to inflate your DSMB, because I did that once, and then when you reconnect it, that little bit of water inside just gets shot inside of your dry suit, so that's not a nice sensation unless you're wearing a thick undersuit, but you want to limit the amount of water that gets into your dry suit as possible. So if you are inflating your DSMB, use the one for your BCD. Doesn't matter if a small amount of water gets in there anyway, it's getting washed out. I think that's it really, just to keep things neat and tidy. But don't get me wrong, I wouldn't think twice if I saw a diver with it on the outside. I wouldn't call them out on it. I might mention it to them, but I'm not that concerned. They can do whatever they want as long as it works for them. But yeah, for me, yeah, on all of my most recent dry suit dives, thinking about it, yeah, it is just the thing that I do, and yeah, I must have been taught it at some point. So yeah, it is just hose routing to keep things nice and neat. Of course, you don't do it for your octo because you need that extra slack. You don't do it for anything else. But yeah, yeah, if you think about your BCD inflator hose, that one gets tucked in and sometimes clipped in, depending on the inflator. Some of them have little clips that hold it in place because you're not really, once your BCD is set up, it's set up. But with your dry suit, yeah, you put everything on and you connect yourself up, and then at the end of the dive, you disconnect and take it all off. It is rare that you're connected but not wearing your BCD. The only time that I am still connected to my regulator and my dry suit but not wearing my BCD is right at the end of the dive, when I'm like vacuum packed and I need to just puff myself up like the Michelin Man. So yeah, so that's my personal recommendation. Tuck it underneath. It just keeps things neat and tidy, and you know what you're dealing with basically. Any other questions, by all means, pop them down in the comment section underneath this video. Remember to use this AskMark hashtag in your question to get it featured. We get quite a few comments and queries and stuff, and sometimes I do miss them, but with it, if it's got AskMark, it's more likely for me to find it if I have the time. But yeah, thank you for everyone for answering any questions that you do see under the in the comment section. It does make my life a lot easier that you're covering my back. But yeah, any other questions, pop them down in the comment section underneath this video. Remember to head over to our website, scubadivemag.com, check out our magazine, all the cool things that we do over there. Remember to like, share, subscribe, do all that good social media stuff. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.